What's going on, Niner fans? How we doing? How we feeling? Yo, did I see Fred Warner's Jerry Rice? Yeah, that shit was insanity. Amazing. I should probably post it. What's up, everybody? How are we feeling? How we doing? We got a lot of news today. I felt so good, man. I was like, man, we got John Lynch talking. He gave us a lot of news. We had the return of the offseason program. It was phase one. So players were in the building. Most players were in the building. We'll talk about that. There was some spicy Davante Adams news that came out today, according to Michael Silver. It was a fun day today, man. It was a lot of news, and my Instagram was buzzing today. I posted a lot. So if you follow the IG and the Twitter, yeah, I pretty much flooded your feeds. But you know what? I love these types of days. This is what we're here for. This is what we love. This is what we live for. People that post the news and content and all that stuff. This is the type of day that you love. It was a busy day, man. It was like, wow. Let's get the news out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for the belated birthday wishes. I see everybody in the chat said, I hope your birthday was great. Everything was good. It was a fun day. Blessed to be alive. And now we got to go for another year. Let's see if we can make it for another year. I hope I am. I hope I'm alive next year. That's kind of cryptic. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to, have another year around the sun. So let's talk about the 49ers. Let's get to it, man. How was my day? It was a great day, throwback. It was a busy day, but very fun day. It was good. Let's talk about it. Let's get right to the tea. Let's get right to the big news of the morning. Davante Adams said he was lowballed by the 49ers this offseason. I got a lot to say about this, but obviously we all saw the news. We know Davante Adams signed with the Rams a couple months ago. But according to the star wide receiver, the 49ers had interest after his release from the Jets. Davante Adams told Michael Silver of The Athletic that the 49ers offer was underwhelming and disrespectful. He said he felt disrespected. He goes, I was entertaining the Niners, but they were like, we're paying wholesale. They're paying wholesale. We ain't paying retail. They ain't paying retail value. They're paying the wholesale price. Like Costco, you get the sale price. We ain't paying retail. He says, I didn't talk to them, but that's what my agent told me, like 5 times that quote. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not a wholesale type of guy. So he says, I've still retail value. I'm still worth a lot. I ain't taking a low ball offer. And he says, move on. And he went to the Rams. And now it's kind of interesting because now he goes to the rival team. He wanted to come to California. He goes to the rival team, NFC West division rival. It's going to get spicy, man. Demo and Adams twice a year. It's going to be cinema. I'm excited. And, he's washed, but he's got a lot to prove. He's still a good receiver, but he's not what he was several years ago. And he's not what he was when he had, Aaron Rodgers at the peak of his prime. But I will say Matt Stafford's a good quarterback. So he's in a good position. He's in a good place for him to succeed. If he's going to succeed, that was probably the best place for him. You got Puka, who's going to, command a lot of double and triple teams. And that's going to open it up for Davante. I think it's a good place for him to go. It's going to be, best case scenario for him. But hey, so the Niners lowballed him. And this is what John Lynch said today. John Lynch was in, he got his media time. He spoke with the media, and he did address this. We didn't post it, but the information's out there. If you saw the clips, if you look into, Twitter and Pro Football Talk and stuff, they clipped it, they aggregated it. And this is what John Lynch said. He says, I saw the quote, and it said his agent had told him. That wasn't me. Who said that? John Lynch said, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, bro. He said, that wasn't me. He says, I've always had a great deal of respect for Davante. That didn't line up. And he says that he's on a divisional rival. We're going to have our work cut out for us covering him and playing against him. He's a really good player. So if there was any disrespect taken, there was none intended. He's like, there's no disrespect. We respect him. He's a great player. He's on a division rival. He's going to have his work. They're going to have his work cut out for them because they know he's still a dog. And, he's going to make it tough for the Niners. Obviously, he's going to play with the chip on his shoulder when he plays the Niners. But he says there's no disrespect taken. And at the end of the day, he didn't say that. He wasn't the one that says wholesale. We're paying wholesale price, not retail. He did say Lynch was asked whether he was sure Kyle Shanahan hadn't made the comment. And Lynch laughed. He says, I'm sure. Kyle doesn't talk to agents. So Kyle doesn't talk to agents. So it wasn't Kyle that said that wholesale. It wasn't John Lynch that said the wholesale comment. I mean, unless they're capping or they're lying, who said the wholesale price? Who in the front office was it? Parag? Jed Yorton. Who said it? It wasn't John Lynch, according to him. It wasn't Kyle because he doesn't talk to agents. Interesting. But I don't know. What do you guys feel? Do you feel like they disrespected him? Do you think Davante Adams would have changed the tide for the 49ers? I think he would have been a nice addition, but we know the 49ers weren't spending a lot of money this offseason. They wanted to get bargain value, and I don't think Davante Adams wanted that. He still was able to get a premium contract with the Rams, and, power to him, power to his agent. They were able to leverage that, and, he still got a big enough name where he could probably get a lot of money, more than what the 49ers would be willing to pay for him. And obviously, look at the 49ers offseason. They didn't go break the bank because they still got to, work on signing Brock and Kittle and all these other guys. And they signed a bunch of lower tier guys for their special teams. So it wasn't in the cards. It wasn't in the plan what the 49ers were doing this offseason. But John Lynch says he respects him. He didn't tell him he's a wholesale player, but that's the quote the agent said. So maybe the agent's stirring stuff up. Maybe the agent was stirring it up where the 49ers says, no, we're not interested, or this is the value. And maybe the agent says he spiced it up a little bit to get the price marked up for the Rams. I don't know. That could be that. There could be so many aspects, but at the end of the day, 49ers didn't get Davante Adams. I think he would have been nice, but how nice would he have been with the 49ers? I don't know. I think he's in a better situation with Matt Stafford. You got Puka. I mean, the 49ers have a young team on the rise, right, with Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowan. You want them to have a lot of opportunities. I don't know if they would have had as many opportunities with Davante Adams. You got Juwan Jennings. You got George Kittle. And, I think the 49ers right now, they're just unproven players that, at certain positions, they're kind of underrated right now. And I feel they'll be good, but I don't know. A lot of people outside looking in are like, oh, my God, they lost Debo. Brandon Ayuk's on the mend. So they're worried because they don't know who Ricky Pearsall is. They don't know who Jacob Cowan is. But they got to make their name for them. So Rob says, yo, Raj. Christine says, John in the front office need to quit talking and get done. 3 contracts need to be done. Jed said it, says Rob. Wasn't me. This is the one thing, though, is that's kind of crazy that Davante Adams just aired the tea out. Like, he was just like, boom, I'm serving tea today. I'm going to drop this information. That kind of cooks him a little bit in terms of future negotiations. Teams are going to know. Players are going to know. Maybe players are going to know. Niners are kind of cheap. They're kind of cheap. But I think we knew that after this offseason. We've known that, right? I think we've had the essence, but now it's a little bit more mainstream. 49ers are kind of cheap. They don't want to spend a lot of money. I mean, they have spent money in the past, right? They've signed Hargrave. It's not that they haven't broke the bank for players, but right now, a little cheap. And I think that's the word out there. And maybe free agents are going to think twice. Maybe that's what Davante Adams was doing. And again, he felt disrespected. So however he reacted is however he reacted. But he spilled that tea out there. It's kind of crazy when that news hits the fan. And, 49ers are no strangers to drama. It's like all the major tea stories, all the major drama always surrounds the 49ers. When I saw this morning, I was like, of course, this is a 49er news report. Of course, this involves the 49ers. I was like, can I just start my morning without this drama? I was like, can I get my cup of coffee without drama? But no, that's how the 49ers. I was like, of course, this is a 49ers related story. As soon as I saw, I was like, oh my God. But Mike Silver also loves drama. His a lot of times his articles, his reports, they stir up a lot of controversy. But I mean, again, you have to take things with a grain of salt. Was it 100% true? Was it, 100% pure straight story? I mean, if he writes it, you have to think, right? He's not just blowing smoke up our ass, but that's the offseason. You also have to look at it and say, is it smoke season? But I do think this is a pretty legit, report. I don't think Davante Adams just lie, right? But Lynch denies it. So someone in that front office says, we just don't know who it is. But it's funny. But, at the end of the day, I feel like Davante Adams, he is washed. But I think he'll have a good season. And he's going to really have to prove himself. I think he's going to, step up and be a big-time player for the Rams. He's going to be a tough opponent for the 49ers. But I don't think he is what he once was. I mean, obviously, he's in his 30s, early 30s. And for a wide receiver playing that many years, you've taken a beating. You're not as fast as you were. You're not as agile as you were. But still a good player. He still knows how to run a couple routes. I mean, a lot of routes. He's one of the better route runners of the league. He still knows how to jump high, run fast. So maybe not as high as fast and as fast, but interesting. I thought that was a pretty crazy story when it came out. I was like, oh, it's a spicy. The Rams and the Niners as if they needed more drama or more stories. I know when this team plays each other this year, that's going to be the big story. And it's going to be like, oh, remember the offseason, Davante Adams is lowballed by the 49ers. They're going to ask him, how did you feel? How did you feel? And he's going to say something. Diamond Lenore is going to say something. He's going to say, all right, you feel low ball. Prove yourself against me. Time to – it's going to happen. I could already predict it, and I can't wait for those comments. I can't wait for that content. I can't wait for it because it makes things – and it just makes the game fun. Like, I know a lot of people, I can't talk track. It makes the game fun, makes us have something to look for. Now, if the 49ers lose, we look silly, right? And that's what happens is, you see, you shouldn't talk, you look stupid. But the 49ers win, talk smack all week. So that's what is the fun part of being a fan of football. But then the worst part is if you lose, then you get egg on your face. So hopefully we win. Steven Reynolds says, I don't want Adams anyways, who's being dramatic like Debo. Yeah, Devontae Adams is dramatic, but most wide receivers are, right? They're known to be divas. Steven says the Rams made bad signing with Adams because Puka's truly the number one. But, I think it was an upgrade over Cooper Kupp. I like Cooper, but he was getting older, just like Devontae. But I still think Devontae has a little bit more in him than Cooper. Puka's definitely going to be their top flight wide receiver. He's ascending, right? He's going to be a really good player this year. He's a good young player, and I think he'll get better. I still think that Puka and Devontae Adams will be pretty solid deal. What's up, 49ers? Raj, Tanisha says the Niners treated Devontae like a date. They saw a good player on the market. They shot their shot at him. The worst thing they could have told him is no, which is what they did. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it is they went on a little date, shot their shot, took him to a cheap dinner and thought that was going to work. Thought they were going to get him, lure him, take him in and score. Didn't work out. It was, I feel like Devontae still values himself as a top tier date. He's a high class. He's a high class. He doesn't want to mess with no scrubs. And the 49ers treated him like a scrub in a sense when you look at the way it played out. But hey, 49ers were spending money this offseason. They said, let's go on a date. Let's go have some Cheesecake Factory. He didn't like Cheesecake Factory. He wanted to go to New York Steakhouse. That's what happened. But it makes great headlines, and it makes great news for the San Francisco 49ers. I love it, man. It's great. Anyways, let's talk about some more things, right? Let's talk about the 49ers off-season program because this is what we care about, the off-season program. 49ers first day back in Santa Clara. They're back in the building, back in the building, back in the building. The 49ers are back today. They started their off-season workout program. There was one guy particular that's, having a contract talk. I was not there today, and that's George Kittle. 49ers tight end George Kittle was not at San Francisco's voluntary off-season workout program that starts today. Now, that's the key. It's voluntary. You don't have to be there. George Kittle sometimes misses the start, but he's kind of come a little later. Sometimes he doesn't, start right away. But you also got to remember he was at WrestleMania. He was partying it up, but he's also far apart in negotiations on his contract. That's the reports is they're nowhere close. They've had talks. John Lynch did say that they've had talks. There's good communication. He's not sure if he's going to come to OTAs this season. I got to turn the volume down. I'll be right back. I'm going to pause for a second. So just give me a second because stupid TV came on and now it's blasting loud and I don't want to give me a second. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Sorry, TV. I had on YouTube, and then TV came back on. It was too loud. I don't want the sound to drown me out. And then, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. But anyways, what we were talking about is George Kittle. He didn't show up to training off-season program today. I don't think I'm too worried about it. I know Kittle is a dog. He wants to be a Niner for life. His agent's tough. We remember the last time he had a contract extension. His agent is rough and tough. But John Lynch did say that he's not sure if Kittle's going to show up to any of the OTAs later down the line. He says, we'll see on that. We've had good communication, good talks. So we'll see what is going to happen with George Kittle. I'd like to have him signed up pretty early, but this is a guy that he's a legend. He's a 49ers centerpiece. He's going to have his jersey hound. He's going to have a Ring of Honor ceremony when it's all said and done. He's one of the greatest Niners right now. He's ascending on the Niners list of great players. This is a legend, man, Niner legend. So I'm sure they'll get it done, but right now contract negotiations are tough. he hasn't been here. His agent, is probably, checking in on him, but Kittle's also been on vacation mode, but he's also been working hard to make sure he's ready. He's been working out with Brock Purdy, and in his home at Nashville. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't think the 49ers are going to get rid of him or trade him. There's a lot of people saying, trade him. He's a 49er for life, and I think they'll figure it out. But right now, it's early. It's not mandatory to be where they need to be right now. So Kittle's going to take some time off. He's earned that. He's a veteran. He's one of the better Niners, over the last 2 decades, right? He's one of the best players on the team. He's a captain. He's a leader. I don't think there's going to be any issue. So George Kittle, he's doing what he has to do, and he's earned this, man. He's earned not having to show up right now. He's a dog. He's going to be great. He's had a hell of a season so many times, and I think he'll get it done. But right now, he's not in the building for the start of the offseason program. I'm not too worried. In the past, I've been worried about certain players not showing up, but not with George Kittle. That's the way I look at it. So not too worried about Georgie, But a guy that did show up today, it's Brock Purdy. He was in the building for his off-season workout program. He was there. He was in attendance today. They're still working on a deal. We know that, right? We know the news is they've been making progress. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter both reported that progress has been made. He's there. And yesterday, Mike Silver said, hey, look, there's been progress on the contract. If he shows up today, that's a very good indication that things are going in the right direction. And he showed up today. It's a very good sign that things are going in the right direction. And John Lynch did have a lot to say about Brock Purdy. He says, I think there's been some substantive talks that have this thing going in a good direction. So Brock Purdy and John Lynch said that Brock Purdy, his negotiations have been having a really good talk right now with the agents and his team, and it's in the right direction. So him showing up tells us all we need to know. And Brock Purdy, that's who he is. John Lynch also talked about that's Brock. He's a pro. We're grateful for him and looking forward to having him as our QB a long time. Like showing up for the offseason program is big for Brock Purdy. He didn't need to. It's not mandatory. George Kittle, he didn't show up. He's going to get paid. He's a team captain. But Brock Purdy showing up, it shows a lot about his leadership. You can hate him or not, but that's pretty big for him. And, the thing is, he's in the middle of a contract negotiation. You really think that he needs to show up? Look at Brian Ayuk. Look at Deebo Samuel. Look at Nick Bosa. Fred Warner. I love all those guys, right? They've been great players. Brock Purdy shows up. Now, I know he's getting paid pennies compared to what those guys were getting paid, even in their first contracts. But still, regardless, Brock Purdy didn't need to show up, and he did. And that's what John Lynch said. He says he's a pro. That's just who he is. He's Brock. And he also said something else. This was a really good quote that I saw. This was 957 The Game posted the video of John Lynch talking, and he addressed, Brock Purdy. He says, Brock Purdy is a very clear-minded. He says Brock Purdy is very clear-minded, and he's not going to let other people influence what he should be doing. He says he's not going to let other people influence him. That's so different from other players. Like I feel like other teams, like sometimes these players, they get in their head. I'm not saying that everybody on the Niners have, but Brock Purdy, he's got his own mind. He's a free thinker. He thinks for himself. And I like that quote. I was like, damn, that's a pretty good quote that he says that Brock Purdy's not going to let anybody influence him. John Lynch, he's not going to let Kyle Shanahan, he's not going to let his agent influence him. He's not going to let Parag Marathe. He's not going to let anybody. Jed York, he's doing what he needs to do. And him showing up, that's pretty dope, man. I got to say, that's pretty dope that he showed up, and he didn't need to. He didn't need to. Christian McCaffrey also, he addressed this. And we'll talk about Christian McCaffrey. But he says that 49ers teammates don't talk about Brock Purdy's contract with him, but he lauds the quarterback for his leadership, showing up for offseason work without a new deal. So this John Lund posted a video clip, and that's what he said. Basically, Christian McCaffrey is like, the team's super excited about this guy, and they're praising him for the fact that he's showing up without a contract. Most guys don't show up without a contract in the middle of a massive contract extension. Brock Purdy showing up is pretty damn cool. That's pretty impressive. So shout out to Brock. I got a lot of respect for him for coming up and just being there. Like, he didn't need to be there today. 100% didn't need to be there. But that's Brock. He's a good dude. He's a nice man, humble guy. That's Brock Purdy. So shout out to Brock, man. Good for him. What's up, Renee? Says Rogers is the ambassador for our 49ers thing. Peter Parker says it's off-season activities. No need to worry. Kittle will retire, Niner. I agree. 100%. I feel the same way. So, Niners on the Go podcast. You saw the video posted of Brock throwing to Ricky looked awesome. Purcell looks like he bulked up too. Yeah, I saw that content. Ricky Purcell posted on his YouTube. Everybody's been posting it, and it looks good, man. Brock Purdy and Ricky look like they're really bonding and building chemistry. Ricky Purcell is bonding with a lot of players. Isaac Rendo's been there. Jacob Cowing, the 3 second-year players are all kind of vibing together. It's pretty good. And to see, Brock Purdy out there slinging it with his teammates, that's the other thing. I'm not worried about Brock. He showed up with George Kittle this offseason and trained with him. He showed up with Ricky Purcell and trained with him, right? And that's so cool to see. He doesn't need to do all that stuff. I mean, I get it. He could be doing his own private workouts and stuff, but he's making it a point to say, hey, look, I'm in a contract negotiation, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't change who I am. I'm still showing up, still training with these guys. And yeah, Ricky looks like he's just happy, man. You could tell Ricky is just happy to be there, happy to be alive. Because, I mean, look what happened last year. It's amazing. He got a second chance on life, and he's making the most of it. He looks like he's been just putting himself in the gym every day. I mean, he's showing videos, working out every day. He definitely looks bulked up, which is what we hoped for, his first full year, after his first full year. And now he's been in the workout room, in the NFL weight rooms, and he's bulking up. And that's what we need from him. He's a thin guy, but needs to build some strength. He can't be looking like me. He's got to go out there and look like a jacked guy. If you remember Brandon Ayuk, first year, he was a very thin, tall, skinny guy. And last 2 years, man, that guy was just took his shirt off in the NFC Championship game. He was jacked. He was yoked. So those years of working out really paid off. So good to see Ricky Purcell in good health and in good spirits, and Brock Purdy working out with those guys. And again, doesn't get me. It gets me very clear-minded. I'm very positive. I'm very optimistic seeing Brock Purdy showing up, training with everybody, and he's got a contract extension. Like, it's just great what you want from your leader and your captain. And 100% Brock Purdy is going to be a captain this year. Good to see it. So Niners on the go says Brock wants to win. Dude is a perfectionist of his craft. And we haven't had that level of excellence since Steve, really. Honestly, that's a good way to put it, man. I like this comment, Niners on the go. Like, you could just see it, like all the offseason interviews he's had. He had that interview a couple weeks ago, that podcast where, he talked about so many different things. But that was one of the things, like, people have doubted him his whole career, and he wants to prove that he's not, irrelevant. He wants to prove that he is talented. He wants to prove that he is a starting quarterback. His whole career has been marred by people overlooking him and not giving him a chance. And he really wants to make sure that he knows he's that guy. And, he is a perfectionist. I like that comment. I think that's a very good way to put it. And yeah, Brock's a great guy, man. And he works his ass off. Whether you think he's great or elite or a lot, I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback, but I still think, or there's a lot of people that think he's not a top 15 quarterback. But if you look at his stats, you look at him, he's probably a top 10, top 5, debating on stats. But, people are going to discredit him. A lot of people in the media don't even think he's top 20. You got Chris Sims yesterday saying people don't even value him as a top 10. They wouldn't want him. Like, whatever people say about him, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what the media says. He's going to go out there, continue to work because he wants to win and be the best version of himself. And you can't hate on a guy like that. So a lot of respect for Big Brock. Christine says he's not a follower. He's a leader. Woo! That's a good way to put it. He is definitely a leader. He's not a follower. Steven Reynolds says, what's going on with John Lynch in the draft? He says, you've got to have the ability to set the firm edge. It's something that we covet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to get to that. Blooming Cash says, I'm a little worried about how Kyle is going to use Cowing. We want to see him, but I hope he doesn't get Danny Gray treatment. I agree with this, Blooming Cash. I want Jacob Cowing to get a lot of opportunities and get a higher usage rates. I have a lot of good expectations for him, right? You see him and Ricky Purcell bonding. Like, you don't want to just have this guy stuck in irrelevancy, stuck on special teams. But, the thing with the 49ers and the receivers, they got to be able to block. So hopefully Jacob Cowing can take that level of blocking and use that to his game. Because if he can show he can do that and be great in practice, which Kyle covets, then I think he can take that leap and be a bigger part of this offense. They need it, right? You have Ricky Purcell, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk's injured right now. So you need a guy to step up. Jacob Cowing, yes, they'll draft someone, but can a rookie be that great, early on, especially in Kyle's offense? It's hard to predict that. It's hard to really think a rookie is going to do a lot of work on this offense. So, yeah, 100%. I want Jacob Cowing to be successful, and I hope he doesn't get the Danny Gray treatment. But to Danny Gray, to argue that point, he had a lot of missed opportunities. He fumbled the ball, muffed the punt. He got injured. He just didn't make the most of his opportunities, because younger receivers, younger players in general, they don't get a lot of opportunities. And if you mess up your opportunity, you fumble the bag 100%. And I think that's what Jacob Cowing has to do, is he needs to make his opportunity count. But I agree with you, Blooming. I want to see Jacob Cowing utilized a lot this year. And I really want to see, Kyle Shanahan showcase his skill set. I think he's a very good player. He's fast. He could be a good yak player. He's explosive, but he's got to make sure he doesn't ruin his opportunities. He's going to get a few, and those few opportunities can turn into more opportunities as he continues to develop and play. So I definitely think that I think most of us are on the same page. We want to see Jacob Cowing get more opportunities. So we talked about Brock Purdy. He showed up. He's in a contract extension situation. We talked about George Kittle. He didn't show up. He's in a contract situation, but I don't think most of us are too worried. Another guy that showed up that a lot of people were worried wouldn't show up. They were thinking he's going to retire. Who knows what's going to happen with Trent Williams? Trent Williams showed up, and he's healthy, and he's ready to go. John Lynch said that Trent Williams is in the building for the start of the 49ers voluntary offseason program. You love to see it. You love to hear it, man. I'm happy, man. Trent Williams being healthy is a major key. We know how good this offensive line is with him in there. We know how bad it is without him in there. And they don't have Jalen Moore anymore. And Jalen Moore did a great job of stepping up in his absence. I got to give that massive credit. He earned a huge check, starting money with the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't have our swing tackle, who legitimately probably was better than our other tackle, right tackle, Colton McKivitz. But, it is what it is. He was a free agent. He earned his money. And it's nice to know that Trent Williams is back. He was there. And Trent Williams usually misses these things. He usually misses these mandatory minicamp. He's never there. He didn't want to show up. Trent Williams showed up. This means something to him. I think he's really focused, and he wants to get back in shape and get healthy. So good news. Trent Williams was in the building. He's here for the offseason programs. Pretty cool to say. So let's also kind of move forward. The next topic that John Lynch addressed was trading in the draft. He says he's not anticipating a lot of trades early in the draft because everybody wants to trade down due to strong depth of the draft. So he's basically saying that there's got a lot of strength in the day 3 of the draft. There's a lot of talent in this draft, and people don't want to really necessarily trade up, go up to the first round, first pick, second pick, top 10 pick, because you can stay where you're at, or you could trade back and really build your draft through the depth that they have. And I think that's kind of what I was seeing yesterday when that report came out that John Lynch is a guy that's probably going to trade back this year rather than trade up. You remember last week, there was a report saying the 49ers want to move into the top 10 or top 6 or something like that. And I was like, okay, I call cap. That's John Lynch basically telling me I was right. Thank you, John Lynch, for telling me I was right. Now, if he pulls the wool over our eyes and he trades into the top 6, you lied to me and I'll be upset. But I don't think John Lynch is lying to us. I don't think he's lying to me. I think there's more likely chance that John Lynch trades back and gets more draft picks and accumulates more because there's a lot of depth in this draft. And that's what John Lynch said. So thank you, John, for validating my opinion. Go, John. Hope you kill this draft. Moving forward, we talked about Brock Purdy. We talked about George Kittle. We have not talked about Christian McCaffrey, who is in the building for offseason program. He says he has no restrictions from his injuries last season, and he's participating fully in the offseason program. He says, I'm feeling great. It's been a smooth process, a lot of hard work. As soon as that injury happened in Buffalo, this was my goal, to not miss a day of OTAs and be back ready to go with nothing hindering me, and that's where I'm at. What a guy, man. He didn't have to show up. Christian McCaffrey wanted to make sure he was here every day, showing up, because that's how hard of a worker he is. Christian McCaffrey's the hardest worker in the building, man. He says, it went by pretty quickly, but I got to a point pretty quickly in the offseason where I was trading full speed, ready to go. You want to, this right here. I posted this, 957 a game, posted another clip from Christian McCaffrey, and he says, for me, it's about proving myself right. I've been here before. I've been counted out a lot of times in my life. I know what to do. I know what it takes. Christian McCaffrey's motivated. He's healthy. This guy's coming for blood this season. Like, to me, when I saw the Christian McCaffrey updates, when I hear him talking, the way he's talking, he's ready to go, man. He's ready to kill. He's ready to run through the league. Comeback player of the year vibes is what I'm getting out of Christian McCaffrey. I'm feeling like he's ready to go out there and just explode on people. Pause. and dominate and just show you why he's arguably one of the best running backs over the last decade in the NFL. Like, this is one of the best running backs that we've seen. This is a pure, talented, just workhorse, and he is a unbelievable player for the 49ers in the NFL. And he's healthy. He's motivated. He knows people are doubting him. He got a little chip on his shoulder. He's going to be a dad this year. Chris McCaffrey, comeback player of the year. Loading. Woo! Love it. So moving on to another big-time player. He's coming off an injury. Who was there today? 49ers linebacker Fred Warner said he's confident that his agent and the team will work out his contract over time, and he plans to be on hand throughout the offseason program. He's not going to miss any time either. I love that. Leader. Warner noted that he feels great, and the ankle injury is a thing of the past. So the injury he had last year, it is what it is. It's past. He's healthy. He's ready to rock and roll. We got a full, healthy Fred Warner. We got a full, healthy Trent Williams. We got a fully healthy Chris McCaffrey, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good season. It's going to be a good season. And he's also excited that Robert Salah is back. He said it was good to get that all gas, no brakes. He was hyped when he heard it. He says he was hyped when Robert Salah came back, and he said all gas, no brakes. You got to love that shit, man. So that's basically the big news of the day. And Steven Reynolds earlier noted that Fred Warner was wearing this Terrell Owens Jerry Rice shirt. Whoo, that shirt was so gas. I need to find it. Wherever he got it, I need to find it because I want to get it. That shirt was amazing. But those are the big updates of the day. Let's talk about a little bit what John Lynch said regarding the draft and what his strategy is. This is what he said. He says that basically what he looks at an edge is you have to have the ability to set a firm edge. He needs a guy that can set the edge. That's something we covet. And then you look at, can they put pressure? Can they threaten a quarterback? That's what they want. A guy that can set the edge and then a guy that can pressure. That's who they're looking for. If you're looking for a player that fits that mold, probably Michael Williams. That's probably the guy. If you want a guy that can set the edge, put some pressure on a quarterback. But we'll see. John Lynch did say that there's a lot of guys that we're looking at that position. We are looking for more. There's a lot of guys that fit that 11th pick. He also said that they have a first-round grade on 20 players, and he believes that 200 players are draftable players. Like there's 200 players that he thinks that are able to be, that should be drafted, not undrafted, right? And he says that there's 20 players that he has a first-round grade on. He also said that you always struggle when you project too much. Sometimes the college production doesn't lie. So sometimes you just got to go off what they have done in college. Look at the film, look at the production. That doesn't lie. Stats don't lie. Film don't lie. Sometimes you're trying to project. You're like, okay, maybe he's a riser. Maybe the combine made him look good. Sometimes it could be misleading. Like those projections, you don't always got to look into that. You just look at their damn talent and what their body of work was in college. And that's what John Lynch is saying, his strategy going into this year. I think he's definitely going into a defensive player for the first pick. They might trade back because they said they have 20 first-round grades. I could see them pulling two of those guys and, trading back, getting two of those guys that they had on that 20 board and go from there. So it's going to be interesting. I think John Lynch would definitely trade back. He definitely would go defense. And don't worry about projections. That's why these mocks and these little, these hypotheticals don't matter because they're not looking at that all the time. They're looking at the film. They're looking at the body of work. They're looking at the player. They're interviewing the player. They're talking to them. They're feeling out if they fit on this team. There's so much more. So I don't like these mock drafts. It's all smoke season. I get it. It's fun. It's engagement. It's like, you can talk about it. Oh, yeah, it'd be cool to have this guy. I used to do it all the time, but I don't really shy away. I kind of shy away from that stuff because you really can't get a pulse sometimes. And then when the draft comes out and they don't draft the guys you like or you mocked, you're like pissed off. So just want to be pleasantly surprised, and I want to be excited, and I can't wait for the draft. And I want them to draft some players that are good. 49ers media yesterday, we were talking, and he says, who's your draft crush? Who do you want the 49ers draft? I said, honestly, I don't have a crush right now. I don't care as long as they don't draft the bust. I want whoever they draft to come in and have an impact. I don't care if it's a tackle, if it's offensive line. Like, I get it. There's certain positions I feel like they need, but everybody's going to want a certain position. If you don't draft it, you're going to be upset. You can't make everybody happy. So I just want them to draft players that have an impact, become really good, and become starters. That's it. Bottom line. I don't care who they take, as long as whoever they take is a damn good player, unless you're taking a kicker in the first round, second round, third, unless you draft a kicker wait for the undrafted. If you take a kicker or like some silly punter or something stupid that you don't need in the first round, then I care. I'm not saying I don't care who they pick, but I'm saying is as long as they pick, I don't care if it's offensive lineman or defensive lineman in the first round, because you need them both. As long as the O lineman or the D lineman or hell, that's cornerback, they draft in the first round, or a linebacker turns out to be a really good player, that's what we want. If you draft fucking Jake Moody's cousin in the first round, then we're sick. Then we're going to break it down. We're going to throw it. We're going to flame the internet, and I'll lead the charge. So there you go. That's Steven Reynolds. I think I answered. Yeah, Michael Williams. I think that's, if you think about setting the edge, Michael Williams is probably, that's the type of guy that could do that. A Blooming Cash says when he said that they're starters in day 3, he's definitely talking about defensive tackle because it's such a class. Yeah, no, you're right. I think they'll definitely get some starters at defensive tackle. Cornerback, too. I think there's some good cornerbacks. I think there's some linebackers. I definitely think he's thinking about linebackers in day 3 because there's a really, really highly talented draft class for linebackers here and defensive tackles. I think you're right on that. So, Blooming says when he talks about the stats, that he makes me, what did he say? When he talks about the stats, that makes me feel like they aren't high on Shamar Stewart. That's 100% what I think. Because that's the guy that was one of the risers. His college tape, his college production wasn't that high. But if you look at the combine, it's like, whoa, he jumped out of his cleats, right? It's like, holy smokes, where was this? But I feel like that was kind of an indication that Shamar Stewart might not be the guy. Now, if he drafts him, I'm 100% wrong. But I kind of agree with you on that, Blooming. I feel like when he's sitting there telling you that, sometimes don't look at the projections. Don't look at guys that are, projected to be so high because they killed it in the combine. Well, what do they do in college? And Shamar Stewart wasn't a guy that really did much in college based on the hype he's getting. So 100%, that's kind of what I took out of it as well. I would say that he would draft Michael Williams over Shamar Stewart. Now, we could all be wrong, and he could be capping us, and he could be lying to us and making it a smokescreen. That's the other way to read this. So who knows? We'll see. Steven says, am I okay with Michael Williams if he's drafted by Niners? I think that'd be a good pick, honestly. I think it'd be a good pick. I mean, he's a Georgia. He's a dog. He's a beast. I think he'd fit in very well. Blood Moon says, Shamar Stewart is bust law 2.0. A lot of people are not high on Shamar Stewart. I think if we draft him, Niner fans are going to be sick to their fucking stomach. I think they'll be so mad because a lot of people think he's going to be an absolute bust of a player. So I don't think you're wrong. I don't know, man. I hate to draft guys that are like combine heroes, and then you get them and they're just because their body of work in college shows they weren't good through a season, but the combine, they prep for that and they're like, oh my God. But some combine warriors really step up and play good in the NFL, but a lot of them just don't live up to the hype. I agree with you on that. So, that guy Green, I hope we don't draft him. He's Foster 2.0, says Blood Moon. Mike Green, good player. A lot of red flags, a lot of character issues. And you know how the 49ers have done with those type of guys. So I kind of would agree on that. Although Mike Green's a hell of a player, but it's risky to take a top 20 player that has a lot of character issues. The Niners did it before with Reuben Foster, and that really, really was a terrible pick. I mean, I was hyped. I think we all were. Reuben Foster was a great player in college. He's a hell of a linebacker. And I was like, okay, this guy's a dog. I mean, he was just coming off national championship game against Clemson. I remember that Bama-Clemson classic. He sent Deshaun Watson flying like a helicopter. And I was like, oh, this guy's a dog. I mean, just the energy. He looked like he was going to be a superstar. And then, yeah, he had some off-field issues, is putting it mildly. But, yeah, unfortunate. So I agree. I think the Niners should shy away from those character issues. But then again, maybe he fixes it and maybe he gets it right and he goes to a team and tears it up. But that's the problem, because everybody that drafts those character issue guys, they think I can be the one to fix them. I can be the guy that makes them right. If you got character issues, it's hard to change those things, right? You've been alive for what, 22 years, 23 years, and you're a dirtbag of a person. It's hard to not be a dirtbag if you've been a dirtbag your whole life. So we'll see. I hope he changes his life for his own self. So yeah, SA allegations. Walter Nolan has character issues. Does he? I didn't know that. Some allegations though, but I didn't know that about Walter Nolan. I like him though. Jalen Carter from the Eagles has character issues. A lot of players did, but that's the thing. Sometimes these guys come into the league again with character issues, and then they figure it out, or they get the right people or the right mentors. Sometimes that's all you need. So I'm not saying that every player that has character issues isn't going to turn out, but it's just a high risk. It's a gamble. So yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited. Again, the biggest takeaway I have for this draft is whoever they draft, I just hope it's good and helps the team out in a very big way, because they need a lot of talent. They need a lot of starters. They had a 6-win season. They got a lot of holes on this roster. They got rid of a lot of players. They didn't bring, certain players back. So you got to really, really hit on this draft. And I think we all know that, right? They did a very good job last year. And I think we need to repeat that success, or maybe be even better, right? Because you really, really need to stack certain positions on this team. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are all excited. And we'll see if there's any more news. We'll get to it. We'll be live with Larry. I'm going to stop yapping for a little bit. We'll be live tonight, Tuesday night. I don't know. I'm sure he's messaged me. I should probably check my messages now, get back to him, and we'll figure out what time we're going to be live. But appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Tomorrow, Warriors, game 2. Hopefully they get that dub. Bay Area, baby. Need to keep the vibes up. And the draft on Thursday. I'm excited, baby. Let's go.